An American tragedy, the Dust Bowl. This wasn't something that happened overnight. The roots, so to speak, were planted during World War I, when high wheat prices and hungry troops led farmers in the prairie states to plow and seed lands that had been used for grazing cattle. Little consideration was given to proper soil management, and the terrain was drastically overcultivated. Things were okay during the 20s, and then 1931 yielded a bumper crop. Wheat prices plummeted, and some farmers were left deserted. A prolonged drought set in, and a horrible process began. As if a Great Depression in high gear wasn't enough, the fields turned bone dry, and the winds kicked up, and some 300,000 square miles of earth that had once been protected by buffalo grass was open to ruin. The soil couldn't hold the spring crops. Also, these were not ordinary winds, but black blizzards that left people and animals lost and in harm's way. Helpless before storms like the one in 1935 that wrecked half the wheat crop in Kansas, a quarter of it in Oklahoma, and all of it in Nebraska. The dust was sometimes blown as far east as the Atlantic, while a lot of people were carried west in search of jobs. Their painful plight was achingly documented in works by Dorothea Lange, Woody Guthrie, and John Steinbeck. You see, more than 500,000 Americans were left homeless. The Dust Bowl exodus was the largest migration in American history within a short period of time. Between 1930 and 1940, approximately 3.5 million people moved out of the Plain States. It's unknown how many moved to California. In just over a year, over 86,000 people migrated to California. This number is more than the number of migrants that went there during the gold rush. Migrants abandoned farms in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Kansas, Texas, Colorado, and New Mexico. They were often referred to as Okies, or Arkies, or Texies. These became terms known in the 1930s for those who lost everything. So in 1935, the federal government formed a drought relief service. More than 200 million trees were brought in and planted to break the winds to hold the water in the soil and hold the soil itself in place. President Roosevelt ordered the Civilian Conservation Corps to educate farmers on anti-erosion techniques, including crop rotation. The farmers were paid $1 per acre to practice new methods. Aside from the short-term economic conditions, the Dust Bowl catastrophe had a long-term effect on the nation as a whole. But because of the Dust Bowl, new agriculture and farming methods were emerging. Many of our great-grandparents, and for some of us even our grandparents, experienced the Dust Bowl. It was one of the great tragedies our American citizens before us experienced and survived. We were a determined and strong people then. Those of us living today are the result of those strong Americans and their never-give-up fortitude. This real-life tragedy of American history displays the relentlessness and the relentless courage of a people. This never-give-up spirit remains today and courses through the veins of all Americans. Our parents and grandparents, even our great-grandparents, gave us a living example of how to never give up and to bounce back even stronger. Like, subscribe, and be a genius. Think for yourself. This is Amerilogic Channel.